Hello United fans, welcome back to United Daily Updates. Paul Merson drops his Manchester derby prediction, and it might surprise you. Picture this. It's Sunday afternoon, the Etihad Stadium is buzzing with tension, and 75,000 fans are ready to witness one of the biggest derbies in English football. Manchester City versus Manchester United. Blue versus red. Pep versus Amorim. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. Sky Sports pundit Paul Merson has just made a prediction that's raising eyebrows across Manchester. The former Arsenal midfielder, known for his bold predictions and straight-talking style, has looked at both teams' recent form and come to a conclusion that might shock City fans. He's not backing the home side. In fact, if he had to pick a winner, he'd choose United. But more on that later. First, let's set the scene for what promises to be a fascinating encounter at the Etihad Stadium this Sunday. Why this derby means more than usual. Every Manchester derby is special, but this one feels different. Both teams are coming into this match with question marks hanging over them. City, the defending champions, have looked shaky. United, under new management, are still trying to find their feet. When was the last time we saw both Manchester clubs struggling at the same time early in the season? It's rare, and it makes this derby even more unpredictable. The stakes couldn't be higher. 3 points here could kickstart a season for the winner. A loss could leave the defeated team with serious questions to answer about their title hopes. Manchester City's rocky start to the season. Let's talk about Manchester City first. On paper, they should be walking into this derby with confidence. They've got Pep Guardiola, one of the best managers in the world. They've got a squad packed with world-class players. They're the defending Premier League champions. But football isn't played on paper, is it? City started the season well enough, smashing Wolves 4-0 in their opener. Everything looked normal. The machine was working. Fans were happy. Then came the reality check. Tottenham arrived at the Etihad and left with all 3 points. How did that happen? City looked lost, confused, and according to Paul Merson, terrible. That's not a word you often hear used to describe a Pep Guardiola team. But it got worse. Brighton, a team that City should be beating comfortably at home, came to the Etihad and won. 2 home defeats in a row for City. When did that last happen under Guardiola? The international break gave City time to think, to reset, to figure out what's going wrong. But has it been enough time? The players are back in training, but the doubts remain. What's going wrong at City? So what exactly is happening at Manchester City? Why are they looking so vulnerable all of a sudden? It's hard to put your finger on one specific problem. Maybe it's the absence of key players through injury. Maybe it's teams figuring out how to play against City's system. Maybe it's just one of those periods every team goes through. But Paul Merson has been watching closely, and he's not impressed. He's looked for reasons to back City going into this derby, and he can't find any. That's a damning assessment from someone who knows the game inside out. The worrying thing for City fans is how they've been losing these games. Against Tottenham, they looked comfortable until substitutions changed everything. Against Brighton, the same thing happened. It's like the team loses its way when changes are made. Is this a tactical problem? A mental problem? Or just bad luck? Whatever it is, City need to fix it fast, because United will be watching those recent performances and thinking they can exploit the same weaknesses. Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. Now let's turn our attention to Manchester United. The Red Devils have a new manager in Ruben Amorim, and everyone's trying to figure out what this means for the club. Amorim made his name at Sporting CP in Portugal, where he built a reputation for playing attacking, exciting football. United fans are hoping he can bring some of that magic to Old Trafford. But like City, United haven't had the smoothest start to the season. There was that embarrassing result against Grimsby Town that Merson mentioned. Yes, you read that right, Grimsby Town. Sometimes football can be cruel. However, United did bounce back with a win against Burnley in their last match before the international break. It wasn't pretty, and they needed a penalty to get the 3 points, but a win is a win, right? Paul Merson watched that Burnley game and had mixed feelings about it. On one hand, he thought United looked really good and played like the Manchester United of the old times. That's high praise coming from Merson. On the other hand, he was concerned that they still needed a penalty to beat Burnley at home. If you're struggling to beat newly promoted teams without needing late penalties, what does that say about your chances against Manchester City? Amorim's impact so far. It's still early days for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, but the signs are encouraging. The team looks more organized, more purposeful in their play. There's a clear tactical plan, which wasn't always the case in recent seasons. Amorim is known for his 3-4-3 formation, which gives teams more attacking options while still maintaining defensive stability. This could be perfect for a derby match where you need to be solid at the back but also pose a threat going forward. The Portuguese coach has also been working on the team's mentality. United have had a problem with confidence in recent seasons, often looking beaten before they even stepped onto the pitch in big games. Amorim seems to be changing that. But the real test will come on Sunday. It's one thing to look good in training or against weaker opposition. It's another thing entirely to perform in a Manchester derby. Paul Merson's bold prediction. So what does Paul Merson think will happen when these two teams meet at the Etihad Stadium? His prediction might surprise you. Despite Manchester City's home advantage and superior squad on paper, Merson is predicting a 1-1 draw. But here's the really interesting part. If someone forced him to pick a winner, he would choose Manchester United. Let that sink in for a moment. A respected pundit who has watched both teams closely this season would back United over City in a derby at the Etihad. Why does Merson feel this way? It all comes down to what is seen from both teams recently. He thinks City look vulnerable. They've been terrible in recent home games, losing to both Tottenham and Brighton. The confidence that usually defines a Pep Guardiola team seems to be missing. Meanwhile, he believes United's front three can cause City problems. This is interesting because it suggests Merson thinks United have the attacking weapons to hurt City's defense, which has looked shaky recently. Breaking down the 1-1 prediction. A 1-1 draw might not sound like the most exciting prediction, but it makes sense when you look at both teams' current situations. City will be desperate to bounce back from their recent poor form at home. They'll want to show their fans that the defeats to Tottenham and Brighton were just blips. The pressure will be on them to perform. United, meanwhile, will be coming with nothing to lose. They're the underdogs, which often suits them in big games. Amorim will have his team well organized and ready to frustrate City while looking for chances on the counterattack. A 1-1 draw would probably suit United more than City. For United, getting a point away at the Etihad would feel like a good result, especially given their recent struggles. For City, dropping points at home to their local rivals would be another blow to their confidence. But is Merson right to predict a draw? Let's look at the factors that could influence the result. Key factors that could decide the derby. There are several things that could swing this derby one way or the other. Let's break them down. Team news and injuries. Both teams have had injury concerns, but the good news for City is that 8 players who were previously doubts returned to training on Thursday. This includes key players like Phil Foden, Josko Gvardiol, and Savigno. However, they're still missing some important players. Ryan Cherki, Mateo Kovacic, and Omar Marmush have been ruled out. The availability of John Stones and Ryan Ait-Nouri remains unclear. For United, Amorim will be hoping his key players stay fit and available for such an important match. Home advantage. Playing at the Etihad should give City an advantage, but recent results suggest their home form has been poor. They've lost their last 2 home league games, which is almost unheard of under Guardiola. Will the home crowd get behind the team, or will the nervousness from recent performances affect the atmosphere? Tactical battle. This will be fascinating to watch. Pep Guardiola is one of the most innovative tactical minds in football, but Ruben Amorim is no slouch either. Both managers will have been studying each other's teams intensely. Guardiola will want to fix the problems that have been exposed in recent games. Amorim will want to exploit those same weaknesses while keeping his team organized defensively. Mental state. Psychology plays a huge role in football, especially in derby matches. City's recent poor form could affect their confidence, while United's improving performances under Amorim could give them belief. Which team will handle the pressure better? Which team wants it more? Why United could spring a surprise. Paul Merson's willingness to back United if forced to choose a winner isn't just based on City's poor form. There are genuine reasons to believe United could cause an upset. First, their attacking play has looked more dangerous under Amorim. The front three that Merson mentioned could indeed cause City's defense problems. If United can get their quick attackers running at City's defense, they could create chances. Second, United often perform better when they're not expected to win. Some of their best results in recent seasons have come when they've been written off. The underdog mentality could work in their favor. Third, Amorim's tactical approach could be perfect for this type of game. His team knows how to stay compact and disciplined while looking for opportunities to counterattack. This could frustrate City and lead to chances for United. Finally, there's the simple fact that form goes out the window in derby matches. Strange things happen when these two teams meet. United could be struggling all season but still find a way to get a result against City. Why City should still be favourites? Despite all the criticism, Manchester City are still Manchester City. They have quality throughout their squad that United can only dream of. Pep Guardiola has more tactical knowledge in his little finger than most managers have in their entire bodies. City also have the motivation of wanting to bounce back from their recent poor form. Sometimes a team's worst performances can lead to their best ones, as they become determined to prove their critics wrong. The return of key players from injury could make a huge difference. Having Phil Foden and Josko Gvardiol available gives City much more quality and depth. And let's not forget, City still know how to win big games. They've done it countless times under Guardiola. One bad month doesn't erase years of success. The importance of this result. Why does this derby matter so much? It's still early in the season, after all. For Manchester City, this game is about stopping the rot. 2 consecutive home defeats in the league is a crisis by their standards. Another poor result, especially against their local rivals, could seriously damage their confidence for the rest of the season. City need to show that they're still the team to beat in the Premier League. They need to remind everyone why they're the defending champions. A convincing win against United would do exactly that. For Manchester United, this game is about showing progress under Amorim. A good result against City would prove that they're heading in the right direction under their new manager. It would also give the fans something to be excited about. United supporters have endured some difficult seasons recently. A derby win, or even a good performance in a draw, would lift spirits around Old Trafford. What the fans are saying. The fans of both clubs are naturally nervous about this game, but for different reasons. City fans are worried about their team's recent form and whether the players can bounce back from the defeats to Tottenham and Brighton. There's a sense of unease around the club that hasn't been there for years. United fans, meanwhile, are cautiously optimistic. They like what they've seen from Amorim so far, but they know it's still early days. A good result against City would be a massive boost, but they're trying not to get their hopes up too high. Both sets of fans know how important this game is. Derby results are remembered for years. Win, and you'll be talking about it all season. Lose, and you'll be hearing about it from your rivals for months. The referee factor. One thing that could influence the game is the referee's performance. Derby matches are always intense, with lots of tackles and confrontations. How the referee handles these situations could affect the flow and outcome of the game. Both teams will be hoping for a referee who lets the game flow while keeping control when needed. The last thing anyone wants is for the match to be decided by a controversial decision. Weather and pitch conditions. It might seem like a small factor, but weather conditions can play a role in how a game unfolds. If it's wet and windy, it could favor the more physical team. If it's a perfect day for football, the more technical team might have an advantage. The Etihad Stadium has an excellent pitch, so surface conditions shouldn't be a problem. Both teams should be able to play their preferred style of football. Historical context. Manchester derbies have a rich history, and both teams will be aware of what's happened in previous meetings. Recent results between these teams have been fairly even, with both sides getting their share of victories. However, City have generally had the upper hand in recent seasons, especially at the Etihad. United will be hoping to change that trend under Amorim. The historical context adds extra pressure and excitement to the match. Every player knows they're part of something special when they play in a Manchester derby. Media attention and pressure. This derby will be watched by millions of people around the world. The media attention is intense, and every move the players make will be analyzed and discussed. Both managers will need to handle this pressure well and make sure their players are focused on the football rather than getting caught up in the hype. The pressure could favor United, who have less to lose. City, as the home team and defending champions, will be expected to win. What success looks like for each team. For Manchester City, success in this match means getting back to winning ways at home. They need to show that their recent defeats were just a temporary blip and that they're still the dominant force in Manchester football. A convincing win would restore confidence and send a message to the rest of the league that City are back to their best. For Manchester United, success might look different. Even a good performance in a narrow defeat could be seen as progress under Amorim. Obviously, they'd love to win, but showing they can compete with City would be encouraging. A draw would probably be seen as a good result for United, while a win would be absolutely massive for their confidence and momentum under the new manager. The aftermath. Whatever happens on Sunday, the result will have consequences that last well beyond the final whistle. If City win convincingly, it will ease the pressure on Guardiola and his players while putting United back in their place. It would show that normal service has been resumed in Manchester. If United win or get a credible draw, it will raise serious questions about City's form and mental state while giving Amorim's project a massive boost. The result could shape both teams' seasons. Derby wins and losses have a way of affecting confidence and momentum for months afterward. Paul Merson's track record. Before we put too much weight on Paul Merson's prediction, it's worth remembering that even the best pundits get things wrong sometimes. Football is unpredictable, and that's what makes it so exciting. However, Merson has been watching football for decades and knows what he's talking about. His willingness to back United, even slightly, suggests he's seen something in both teams that makes him believe an upset is possible. Whether he's right or wrong, his prediction has certainly added extra spice to an already mouth-watering derby. The bigger picture. This derby takes place against the backdrop of a wider discussion about the state of both clubs. City are trying to maintain their dominance in English football while dealing with off-field issues. United are trying to rebuild under new ownership and management. The result won't define either club's season, but it will give us a good indication of where both teams are mentally and tactically at this early stage of the campaign. Final thoughts before kickoff. As Sunday approaches, the excitement is building across Manchester. Both sets of fans are nervous, hopeful, and desperate for their team to get the better of their rivals. Paul Merson's 1-to-1 prediction might prove to be spot on, or it might be completely wrong. That's the beauty of football. You never know what's going to happen until the final whistle. What we do know is that both teams desperately need a positive result. City need to prove their recent poor form was just a blip. United need to show they're making real progress under Amorim. The stage is set for what promises to be a fascinating encounter. Will City's quality shine through, or will United's underdog spirit carry them to a famous result? Conclusion. Paul Merson's prediction of a 1-to-1 draw between Manchester City and Manchester United has certainly got people talking. His reasoning makes sense. City look vulnerable after recent defeats, while United are showing signs of improvement under Ruben Amorim. But predictions are just that, predictions. When these two teams meet on Sunday at the Etihad Stadium, anything could happen. That's what makes football so compelling. What we can say for certain is that this derby comes at a crucial time for both clubs. City need to bounce back from their worst run of home form in years. United need to show they can compete with the best under their new manager. The fans of both clubs will be glued to their screens or packed into the stadium, hoping their team can gain bragging rights in what promises to be a thrilling encounter. Whether Merson's prediction proves accurate or not, one thing is guaranteed. This Manchester derby will be unmissable television. In a game where form often goes out the window and pride is everything, expect the unexpected. The only thing left to do now is wait for Sunday and see which team will emerge victorious in this latest chapter of the Manchester rivalry. Will it be the sky blue of City or the red of United celebrating when the final whistle blows? We'll find out soon enough.